Today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Kentucky Virtual Library to conduct your research just from the site kyvl.org. If you're on campus at school, you should be able to access this without having to log in. If you are at home or another location other than the school campus, you will be prompted to use a username and password to log in. Your teacher can give you that, as it is the same for each school district in Kentucky. However, each district has their own different one, so we don't publicize that anywhere, but your teacher will be able to give you that information should you need it. To start out with, up here at the top in the search bar, you can click the down arrow here to expand your options to search. And so just to help with limiting your searches, you can go in and you can click whichever one that pertains to you. So today we're going to click high school, and then it will just search within those things that are geared more toward high school. So here in this box, you want to put your search term. Now, sometimes this is where the tricky part comes in. Sometimes with your searches, you can, if your topic is broad, you will get many results. If your topic is narrow or too narrow, you won't get enough results. So the trick is finding that perfect search term that will yield enough results but not too many. So just to kind of give you an idea of what this means, let's just put in, this is a hot topic right now, vaccinations. Oh, and see here it's giving me this this login, so I'm going to pause for just a moment and log in, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I got logged in there using our district username and password, and so now I am to my results screen. As you can tell, I've got many results. I've got 124,133. So I do not want to have to go through all of those. So there's some things that I can do to get that down to a more manageable number. So on here, on the left here, you will notice that there is a limit to section right here. So by default, that means automatically it is checked full text, and that's what we want. We don't want articles that just have just the abstract or the summary. We want the actual full text. Also, too, under publication date, it will go back as far as the 1900s, early 1900s, possibly a little earlier than that, depending on your subject. So for research, though, unless you're studying like the history of something, you probably don't want to go back that far. So you can adjust these by adjusting your date here. So let's just go with the past. Let's start with 10 years. Okay, and so that will limit that down. Okay. After that, too, down under that is source types. It does have all results checked, but we don't want to quite have all results because that is a way that we can limit those things as well. Now, probably for the high school student, the best publication to look at are magazines. Depending on your subject, and if you're having trouble finding information, you can go up into academic journals as well, but that could involve a lot of vocabulary and a lot of jargon that you probably wouldn't understand, a lot of words, collegiate words, that it would be more difficult to read those. Could you use those? Yes, possibly, but you probably want to stick to magazines if at all possible. So you can click there. You may have to do a refresh too to get it to apply. some of your results. Okay, so it's working here. Let me get these refined and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so I completed my search. Just to review what I did here, I've got full text checked. I ended up doing my dates about 5 years just because I didn't want to go back any further. You can manipulate this date to change your results. Like if you're getting too many results, then change this date to maybe 3 years. If you're getting too few results, then expand this date to maybe 7 years. But, for most purposes, 5 years is probably going to give you plenty of uh, research articles within that time frame. I also checked just magazines. I did go down here, I believe, to geography, or no, I went to language, which will show up down here, and you can select English. KYVL does offer articles that are written in other languages. So just to refine those down, just to get it down to exactly what I needed, I did under language select English. Okay, so now I've got my results. I've got 154, which is, a pretty good amount. If I'm going to need, say 10 resources, I should be able to find 10 of them within this 154. So you just start looking at the hits that you're getting here, and just some things I want to point out here is, of course, this is the name of the source. This little icon right here tells you what kind of source that is. Now, we just selected just magazines, so all of our results are going to show just periodical. That's a fancy word for magazine. So all of ours will have that. If we had not limited to magazines, then we would see different icons. We might see a newspaper, we might see an academic journal, so those would change. Excuse me. Under here, we see the PDF full text. Now, let me see if I could scroll down here and find one that gives both. Yeah, it looks like they're all, oh, here we go. So you'll either have one that says PDF full text or you'll have HTML full text. Okay, so these are basically the same but a little different. The PDF full text, that shows, a PDF shows the article just as it appears in the magazine or periodical. Pictures, graphics, looks like you pulled it straight out of the magazine. The HTML, however, is just the text. So you don't have any of the pictures or the graphics. So let's take a look at that and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is the HTML. As you can see, it's still the same information, just doesn't have the bells and whistles that the PDFs do. Does this still work? Absolutely. So that is just what that looks like. Let's go back to our results list and let's take a look at a PDF one. Okay, so as you can see, this looks a little different. It's not just the text. This one is doesn't have the pictures and the graphics that some might have, but you can tell a little bit of a difference between the two. So this is a PDF. Both work. It just depends on which one you prefer. Now, let's say that this one is an article that you would like to keep. Let's see. The great thing about KYVL, with Google. It does partner with Google, so logging in is easy to get to. Okay, and let's go back. Let me get back to our search results. Okay, so now that we're signed in, and I just signed in by going up here and hitting sign in, and then I just use sign in with Google. But you've got some options over here. One of the great things is KYVL does partner with Google, as I said, and you can save your articles to your Google Drive. Now, this is very important that when you find one, even if you think you might use it, save it. You know, it's best practice to, if you've got to have 10 articles, find 12. Because as you get into your research and you begin to look at these articles and gather your information, you may come across one that you thought you would use, but then when you get to doing it, you really don't need it. And so by adding 2 or 3 additional articles when you're doing your search, that ensures that you don't have to go back and find another article. Because if you just found 10 and then you realize, oh my goodness, I'm not going to use one of them, I've got to go back and find another article. Whereas if you find 12 and you only needed 10, you've got some articles to fall back on. So let's say this is one that I want. Over here on the right-hand side are some tools that you can use. Of course, if you're a teacher and you find one and you want to put it on Classroom, you do have the option to put the article on your Classroom feed. But this Google Drive one is the one we want to look at. Okay, so when I click that Google Drive, it's going to want me to allow EBSCO. That is the site. That is EBSCO is the site that KYVL goes to find these articles. But it will have you go ahead and give permission. Let me get past this one. Apparently, I've got a pop-up blocker, so I'm going to pause and I'm going to get that taken care of, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I got that taken care of, and I have saved it to my Google Drive. And of course, a little box will pop up and say that your document has been saved to your Google Drive account. And so you can just click OK. And then if you go into your drive, you will see under the recents, you will see that upload where EBSCO sent that to your Google Drive. Now, the best thing you can do is, after you've done your research, is to go back into your Google Drive and create yourself a folder and label that, junior research, senior research, whatever it is, and put all of those articles into that folder. That way you know where they are when you need to go back to them. Okay, so once you're done with that, you can simply just back up to your result list, and then you can continue on going through your results. Okay. Now, once you have these articles in your Google Drive, of course, if it is a PDF, you can use a extension. I think several are using Cami or some other different ones that will allow you to mark up these PDFs, but you can just pull them up and you can use that tool to highlight any text that you want to feature in your research paper. But from this point, really, it's your teachers' instructions that will guide you through how they want you to do this. If they're wanting you to have note cards, or if they're just wanting you to use that annotation tool like Cami or Doc Hub, I think it is, to manipulate these PDFs. That is up to your teacher. But this should give you some help in getting those resources that you need. If you find that you're not getting enough research on your topic, again, I'll go back to these search terms. It's just finding that right combination to look up to help you find enough information. So if you're having that issue, you can simply email your teacher or talk to your teacher and try to get some assistance from them as well to help you with some of those search terms to help you find exactly what you need for your topic. You can also email me at lori.corbin@webster.kyschools, and I will try to help you with some of those search terms as well. As Miss Harris at the high school, you would more than likely be able to get an email her, or if you can get in person, see her in person to help with some of those with those search terms and getting just that right combination. So that completes my tutorial over the KYVL, and I hope you have good success in finding information that you need for your research project. See you again soon.